Hello and welcome back. I showed these in last week's video, I think. I got these at the local model railway show for £6 each. I got a pair of them. So I've got the wheels out, but they are missing the stickers off the load. Let's have a look. So I've got a couple of boxed ones here. That's how they should look. So they were R.19, the plate wagon. I think they could be R.19 as well. These came along right at the end of the Triangle Hornby period. So they are 72, 73. So I'm just glancing to my right to look at the notes. So I thought I'd just copy these and try and knife them out. I've been having an experiment with it, but they have curved edges, the original. So I'm trying to point where we're looking there. So they have curved edges, so that's a direct scan off the side. But you know, they would have been die stamped out. But also I've noticed that when I have scanned these, I mean, they're not actually square down the edges either, they're all wobbly. So in the absence of finding an accurate way of cutting curved edges, I've made some up with, you know, square edges. So I think I'm going to make the executive decision, and we'll install some with stickers on those with square edges and see how they look. I can always replace them, because I'm going to put Prit on if I come up with a later date of cutting nice curved, uniform curved edges on there. So I've got the wheels out of these. You can see this fairly dirty. I don't know, something's been either used to lubricate or clean those and has left a sort of white mark. I'm not sure whether that's going to come out. And see the other one, actually the other one's in, oh no, it's got it on one side and not the other. So I've got the wheels in the solution. They've been in there this afternoon. I'm going to get those out later on, give them a clean up and clean the metalwork up on them as well. So I've got just a solution of washing up liquid and shower cleaner. Originally it was in hot water, it was all foamy. So ideally they'll all go back together and run quite nicely. So let's have a look at the end of that box. That one's got 55p on it there. So let's leave that lot alone. I'll get that lot sorted and we'll get them on the railway. I've got a diesel shunter over there. So that's quite a nice crisp version, boxed one. If you have a look at the insert picture there, you can see that it's a sort of a sliding cardboard sleeve, but no paperwork sadly, and I think somebody's replaced the cellophane. As you can see, the cellophane in this particular packet, it does tend to suffer once they get to this age. So I thought we'd have a quick look in this catalogue, because I think it contains all the items that we're going to run. Just realised that one's in the box the wrong way up. So we've got the 72 book here, so we're just before we change to the Hornby Railways period. So we'll leaf through this one a little. So we've got a nice price list here, hand typed on. I think we've only just seen this one, and when we're looking at something else, I know we keep delving into these. So this is current February 1972, and we've got all those stores there: Southgate, Holborn, Manchester and Leeds. So it's quite a, I don't know, I suppose every one was typed out by hand, but this is duplicated, but it looks like it was derived on a fairly manual looking sort of typewriter. I remember myself pre-computer and desktop printers typing lists of things out, and it's you know, you get part way down and you make a mistake. It's quite annoying. You've got fractions, half pences there. Look, that's quite nice. Used to make tremendous noise, the typewriters. So we'll just leaf through here and have a look at the locomotive. So we've got some interesting sets in here. We won't get too attached to this. Yeah, there's great items here. I should have bookmarked these. Yeah, gorgeous reds in this imagery. There's that wonderful princess. We had that on the railway just quite recently. Here we go. This is what we're after. Not those ones, or those are quite interesting. We haven't had one of these out for a while either. We've got one of those on the railway in that livery. I almost got one out in the blue, the all over blue with the yellow ends for this, but I went for this in the end because I hadn't run it for quite some time. So we've got a diesel shunter there. I think they were I've forgotten my notes. I think they came along 69. Let's just run over here and get these. So 6973, the diesel shunter in that sort of blue livery. So I think diesel shunters came along in the sort of late 50s. They were originally black, and then there was a green variant, and I think there was a black clockwork, and I think there's a primary one in maroon as well, wasn't there? I can't remember whether that's clockwork or not. So let's go for the wagons, although we've got Wren, the Triang Wren stuff. That's a gorgeous looking item, that. Don't have, actually, I do have one of those. Somebody was kind enough to send me one of those a while back, so maybe we should have a run with that. Barely run item. It's an absolutely gorgeous thing. You can still smell the paint on it, as it were. So this is the page we're after. So when I was sort of looking through for these, the wagon, we've got a good handful of those on here as well at the moment, don't we? Where are they? There they are. Look, they cost 31 there, sitting there, look. Turned out to be quite a popular model on the railway, that one. Quite like running those. So there's the plate wagon. It looks a little bit different to what we're seeing, doesn't it? So yeah, got some sort of red metalwork there. So there we go. There. This is long, and I did notice that the loads are quite shorter on those other ones. So R.19 Plate wagon with load, available early 72. So let's have a quick glance here. See if we can find the. There we go. R.19, 53 pence. And what have I got on the end of this box? That's why I brought this along with it. I don't think there's a dealer name on there. If there was, it has gone 55 pence. So in the right sort of area, I suppose. So where are we again? 1953. Yeah, just a 2 pence difference. So let's see what the diesel shunter would have set us back at this point, this period of time. So we want 1.52. There we go. £3 and 10 pence. And we are going to have one of these long wheelbase brake vans, the R16 brake van. So this came along. This variant came along 1967 and ran again into the early 80s. Could be, I think, R636 originally, R016, 16A, and the 16 possibly other numbers as it probably gained silver seal wheels and whatever came after silver seal wheels perhaps. So let's have a R16, what are we? Yeah, 16, getting confused already. So an R16 would have been 47 pence. So the one we've got on the railway today is an unboxed one. We're the following morning now, so I'm just going to move this diesel shunt around and pick up that brake van sitting by itself there. So we'll give that a little bit of power. And we'll run that around the railway. It makes a great noise, that motor inside that sort of square bodywork. So really amplifying it. Perhaps we'll have a look at it run without the top on in a moment and see how that sounds. It's all fairly nice condition. It's just a shame the window from the box is missing and the instructions. Tiniest hesitation on some of those points. Let's just see if we can back that down a little bit in the power. Oh, I've just noticed the buffer has collapsed at the end of that siding, but we'll deal with that later. So let's pull that around now. So we'll just run that around there. Charging away. Let's get it down a little bit lower. Watch that come alongside the 00 station here. We'll take out a little bit of power. And then we'll just bring that to a stop along there. So I have been fiddling with the wagons that we saw a little bit earlier overnight. Let me see if I can just get the, yeah, back to that setting there. So I know I had printed out, I was talking about I was having trouble doing that freehand, and while I was cleaning up the wheels, it was thinking I should try and find something to cut around to give me the curved edge, and I did. So I found, if you have a look at the insert picture, I found this little piece of metal. So if I hold that in the corner while you, can we get any focus on there? There we go. So it's that. I don't know what it is. It's in a box of bits. You know, you throw stuff in the box, or box, a drawer. I'll show you. So this drawer here is just full of odds and ends, which just get thrown in, you know, like that. So I was just looking for something with a radius or radii that would sort of suit the job. So I've managed to cut up a handful of these. I know they do look okay. I think they're probably nicer than just going for the square sides, you know. But there's some I've installed. So the metal parts were very, very grubby. So I just had those in warm soapy water, giving them a wash, and then a light polish with just a duster, really, just nothing too heavy. And there's quite a bit of gum on there that's come off, but it's sort of etched its way. Whoops, that's very bright, isn't it? Etched its way into the metal work there. So we'll get all those made up, and we'll get those onto the railway. So again, I've cleaned up the wheels. Have a look at the insert picture there. You can see how I've just cleaned those up with cotton buds and the old electric toothbrush, and they come up quite nicely. So I'm thinking they should run reasonably well, although I think on the tighter radius curves, this length of wagon is a bit uncomfortable. You see there's a slight bend in that wagon there, very slight. So see if the other one's warped as well. Yeah, it seems to go up in the middle and down at the edges. Could be just plastic shrinkage or expansion over the years. I forgot to mention that the brake van that we got on the railway today has a white roof rather than the grey one pictured in the catalogue we were just looking at. So I've got the top whipped off that. We'll just have a swift look at the brake van. There I've got the wagons assembled on the track, all looking rather shiny. So yeah, I suspect as this was made for quite a period of time, that they made a change from grey to white occasionally. So there we go, this one's got triang on the bottom of it. Made in England, got the plastic wheel set, so this is going to be, I think, mid to late 70s perhaps. It's still got the metal couplings. I'm not sure whether it did get the moulded all-in-one part of the chassis couplings, perhaps. So we'll pop that on the rails. So I think we decided that was a number of different model numbers, didn't we? Have I already mentioned that? Can't quite remember. So we've got these on the rails now, and they're R.19 or R.19, just that crossover period between sort of Hornby Railways and Triang Hornby. So I think the wagon parts, the base and so on, and the bed could have been used for other interesting wagons. So we've got the top off this, and we'll just give that a little go. So give that some power. And then we'll bring that back again, so it doesn't have the same rasp when it's got the top off. So we'll bring that gently to a stop there. We'll just have a quick look over it. It's sort of fairly original. Let's grab that. Definitely the magnet adhesion in there. So giving it a light clean and a bit of lubrication. I have run this in the past, but I can't remember when it was. So I do have that. The other the blue one actually, we should have looked at when I was on the bench. The one that I've used for track testing, right, just hiding all the way up there. So that one's definitely been played with. So I think what I want to do is just we'll get this body back on, have a look over the inside of it there. So it's not too much oil splatter. I'm not sure whether let's get it in the light here. We've got Made in England. We've got Triang up there. Will it focus? Yeah, just, I think. But you can see why so many of these have the steps missing. They sort of run into stations or off the rails at speed. So let's have a look at the back of it there. And again, those holes in the back where become much larger as people start fiddling with them. Striations in the plastics there as well, isn't there? So I think we have those. We'll step back and give that a little power and get that to run around. Very rattly. They do have weights in them, these wagons, but I think they're still on the light side, even so. So there's not much bulk to the plastics. And maybe it is that brake van at the end. That's the rattly bit, isn't it? So yeah, I think the diesel Shunter, quite a popular model over the years. The slightly later version in the 70s has that automatic uncoupling, but a completely different chassis. So this is the old chassis shed with a number of other items in the Triang range. There we go, we've got hesitation there. So let's just bring that gently to a stop. There. I wonder whether we can get that to go back into the sidings over here. We'll take advantage of the uncoupler. And then perhaps we could pick those up. So let's have a look. Where are we? I'm just looking at the points I was fiddling earlier on, so I want to go this one. I don't know why it's taking me so long to work this one out. There we go. So ideally, this is going to come through here, through there, through here, and into this longer siding. That's what threw me, because I changed that earlier with this in mind, so we can take advantage of this uncoupling ramp there. So let's push these around the railway. So which direction I'm going to go? I'm confused. So we'll go, there we go. Yeah, so there's that rasp being sort of accentuated by the bodywork, I think. Hesitation on that one. We'll come back and have a look at that in a moment. So let's see how well the wagons behave being pushed through these points. Planning to stop that on the uncoupler. Missed it. Got it there though. So we'll bring that back here. So I'm getting the occasional stutter here and there. So sometimes if you're relying on, even though it straddles the frog, that you're getting the perfect contact at both ends, or on the wheels, the axles and the chassis, or the phosphor bronze strips. So remember, they are toys, so we want to go curved with that one, and we want to go curved with that one. Let's give that a go. See if we can grab hold of these. I've spotted my mistake. There we go. I was merrily doing that, and this is a converter. Look, it's got the Hornby 00 coupling on there. So we'll put that one over there for later use, I think. So this time, so let's get that to go again. Got those. So that's quite bright, isn't it, with that exceptionally bright red wagon. I got that bright red one from the show the other day, didn't I, with SR on the side. So we'll bring that out. And we'll drop that into the station there. So I'm just going to tidy this point work up here. So let's go with that one curved and this one straight, and this one here. Let's make this one curved. So that's a slightly more interesting route. So shall we push them or shall we pull them, do you think? I think we'll try pushing, see what happens. Yeah, I've got a converter on the other end here as well, haven't I, for the Mark IIs. One of my homemade ones on that brake van. So we'll just bring this back onto this line. Here we go. And if I straighten that one, and let's straighten this one, and we'll bring them back and we'll put them back where we got them and see if we can pick up the plate wagons again. Wrong one. There we go. So we'll just pan back round, and then we'll go for some power on this. All making a very satisfying sound now. This lot doesn't sound quite as rattly as the plate train. Yeah, I should have, shouldn't I? I should have closed that. It was going so well. There we go. I really should have closed that. I'm now thinking I closed that and then reopened it without thinking. I'll only know when I look back at the video. There we go. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. So, uncoupler. I think this trainer will go in here. We'll get the uncoupler. So let's gentle power there. Have we got it? Let's have a look in there. We have. I'm not stopping it on that plastic frog. So we'll close that one, straighten that one, and I think we can get access to here. But I want to put that down, otherwise it'll not do the trick. So let's come in here. Look at that, I've forgotten another point. Let's try that again. Got it. And then curved. That's the problem. If you're trying to be too gentle with these things, it's possibly not what they were originally for. And we'll just stop that there. use these words advisedly. I'll tidy up the points. There we go. So I think we'll just finish by putting them into here. So I think we'll probably call it a day. So let's go curved with that one. And we are straight with that one. And we should be able to roll through there, provided, yeah, we'll make this end of this live, so we'll come down to this end there just to bring it all to a conclusion today, I think. So let's come this side of it and see it pull away from the station. And around the curve. We'll take some power out of it now. There we go. But I think that's about it for this time. I thought it was just interesting to get those wagons sorted out, have a swift look over them, a bit of a play with the shunter, and get confused with the points, but it's all part of the fun. Thanks again. Goodbye now.